The naming convention that we use to name the unit tests is very important. Make sure the same naming convention is used for all unit tests. A good unit test name provides all the information about that test. I like Roy Ashrov's naming strategy for the unit test. Here it is: unit of work underscore state under test underscore expected behavior. Unit of work is the name of the method being tested. State under test represent the input values for the method. Expected behavior is what the method returns for the specified input. Let's understand this with an example. Let's rename this test underscore divide method to stick to Roy Ashrov's naming strategy. According to Roy Ashrov's naming strategy, the first part of the unit test name is the unit of work, which is nothing but the name of the method that we are testing. Here we are testing the divide method, so unit of work is divide. Followed by that underscore and then state under test, which represents the input values for the method that we are testing. So if you look at this divide method right here, it has got two input parameters, numerator and denominator. And if you look at the values for those two parameters, both of them are positive numbers. So divide underscore positive numbers. So those are the input parameter values. And the final part of the unit test name is the expected behavior. Now what do you think is going to happen when we divide two positive numbers? We are going to get positive quotient. So the expected behavior is returns positive quotient. Let's create another unit test. Let's actually make a copy of this. Now let's divide a positive and a negative number. When we do that, we are going to get a negative quotient. So divide positive numerator and negative denominator. What are we going to get back? We are going to get back negative quotient. So the expected behavior here is returns negative quotient. Let's create one more unit test. So let's make a copy of this method. When we divide two negative numbers, what are we going to get back? We are going to get back positive quotient. So divide underscore negative numbers underscore returns positive quotient. So here we are going to divide two negative numbers. So numerator is going to be negative, denominator is also going to be negative. We get a positive quotient. This unit test, we are passing positive numerator and negative denominator. So numerator is going to be negative. Denominator is going to be negative. Numerator is positive. And what are we expecting back? We are getting a negative quotient. Alright, so now within this calculator test class, we have got three unit tests. But look at the test explorer window, we only have one unit test here. For this list to be updated, we will have to build the solution. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut Control Shift B to build the solution. As soon as the build succeeds, notice we have the list updated. To run all these unit tests, I'm going to click on this link, Run All, which is going to run all the three unit tests. So that's the naming strategy for unit tests. So if you have a method like divide, and if you're dividing two positive numbers, you might have a method name like this, divide underscore positive numbers underscore returns positive quotient. Now let's look at the naming strategy for the test class. So the class that contains our divide method is calculator. So the test class is usually calculator tests. So we suffix that word tests to the same class name. So if you look at the calculator class here, this is present in calculator.cs file, and if you look at our unit testing project, the file name is calculator test. Notice I have not pluralized the word test. Some people like to pluralize it, some people doesn't. Let's actually pluralize it. So let's rename the file. When we rename the file and when I hit enter, look at this, it's prompting me to rename the class name as well. I'm going to click S, so the class name is also calculator test, which makes more sense. So that's the naming strategy for test classes. Similar naming strategy for test projects. So if the project name is calculator.library, your test project will be calculator.library.tests. So look at the project right here. The project that contains our calculator class is calculator.library, but look at the unit test project name. I named it calculator.test. It would have been more meaningful if I have named it like calculator.library.tests. Now, since we named the project to calculator.library.test, it also makes more sense to change the namespace name as well. So let's change it to calculator.library.test. The moment we do that, look at that, we have got a compilation error. That's because we are already within calculator.library namespace, within which we have that calculator class. So I can simply remove this calculator.library from all the three unit test names, and that should get rid of those compilation errors. Let's build our solution to make sure the solution still compiles, and let's run the unit tests, and all of them succeeds.